What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and it's Kyle Robinson, your favorite offensive madman, back for another edition of From the Mind of a Madman. In our last video, we talked a little bit about Bethesda and Microsoft's merger and what it meant for the company and what it meant for games in general. And recently, it seems that Sony has decided they were going to announce that they might have an answer to Microsoft's digital Gamepass. The problem is it literally stopped right fucking there. No other details had been announced at the time of this recording. So, we're going to play my favorite game. Speculate what the fuck it means. So, the head honcho of Sony, or one of the head honchos of Sony, announced that they had an answer to Game Pass and an unannounced project. They were working on details and that they would eventually come out and tell us what it all would look like. The problem is there's already actually two well-established forms of digital game content that Sony offers. Now, neither one of them really have much in the way of longevity, in my opinion. One could, the other really just depends. So let's start with the older of these two things, and that is PlayStation Now. If you don't know what PlayStation Now is, it is PlayStation's subscription model where you can download a game or stream a game and play it. The problem is a lot of the games in that particular subscription format are either very old games or games that really didn't seem to move the needle one way or the other. They've added games in recent memory, like Red Dead Redemption 2 was on there for a while. The new God of War was put on there at some point. And there's a number of other games that are on there, but none really kind of spike interest the way that Game Pass has. The problem with that particular model, in my opinion, is that they've refused to put their blockbuster AAA titles on that, make them available on that model within 3 weeks. Microsoft is putting games on their fucking pass day one. Let's use Destiny. I may have my issues with Destiny, but Microsoft has given you access to all of Destiny's legendary content since Destiny 2 launched. It's all now on Game Pass. And with this new expansion that just came out, Beyond Light, it was live on Game Pass day one. Why can Xbox do that and Sony can't, you might ask? They're not afraid to lose money. I think it's because Xbox doesn't have the first-party exclusives like Sony does, or as Sony put it, the blockbuster AAA titles. And what they mean by blockbuster is just high cost. And this is not a knock at Xbox by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the fact that Microsoft has more money to play with in their bank account than Sony does. So that means that you can't really use the PlayStation Now functionality, or you could, but they're not using the PlayStation Now functionality to give new games that maybe would draw more consumers, myself included, to a PlayStation Now subscription. Now, the second tier that they have given away now actually launched with the PS5 earlier this month, and that is the PlayStation Plus Collection. That is something that I really, really like the idea of, and there was 25 games, I think it was, that was on this collection. And it included games like Bloodborne and God of War and the Uncharted collection. The only problem that I have with this is the fact that all the games that were included in that collection are old as fuck. A majority of them at least 2 years old. So that means that we're still not getting these new PlayStation games that really should be given to those consumers in a means to combat Game Pass. Could you build off of either of those things? You could. It would be no real issue. Especially, I think PlayStation Now has a much firmer foundation is the right word I'm looking for. But you have to be able to build off of that. You have to be willing to lose a few dollars, so to speak, in order to gain those followers and to gain those subscriptions and build that trust. Because let's be completely honest, Sony's PlayStation Plus offerings that they've given out over the years, while there's been a lot of decent games, there's also been a lot of shit games that's included with the PlayStation Plus subscription. Sony is definitely losing in the way of the Game Pass or digital collection, if you will, race between Xbox and Sony. Sony banks very heavily on their first-party titles, which isn't a problem. The issue now becomes, as we move forward into the digital era, so to speak, people are really looking for more bang for their buck. So then you might ask yourself, well, what exactly would they do, or how could they do it? And this is just kind of me spitballing literally off the top of my head as to what they could theoretically do to make a Game Pass version for Sony. And that would include three things. You would need your first-party titles. You would need your exclusives, your Uncharted, God of Wars, Horizon Zero Dawns, Little Big Planets. Anything Sony has done that is exclusive needs to be given to the consumer as part of this. It really does. You can charge a premium price, $15 a month. Really isn't that astronomical when you think about it. That's the first thing that needs to be included. The second thing is you need to continue to add the games from PlayStation Plus, and make it all one, which is what they kind of did with the collection, but make it all one thing so that you can add to this collection as time goes on. You have access to these backdated titles. We'll go ahead and add more titles from the PS5 and PS4 legacy, as time goes on. That's the second thing I think they really need to kind of do to build themselves into a nice digital marketplace. And the third and the final thing really centers around less around value, which is kind of weird to say, and more around just content. And I don't mean like shit content, good content. Strike a deal with some of those first party, contenders, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Demon Souls, those games that were huge day one releases for the PS5. Imagine if somebody were paying $15 a month, they could get those games, on that system as part of that launch day bundle. And Sony looks at it, I think, from the, that's not good. We don't want that. But and I don't know the numbers. I'm literally just making these numbers up. But if Sony sold, let's just say, 300,000 copies, because there probably aren't even that many PS5s, of Spider-Man Miles Morales. If they were charging $15 a month for their subscription-based model, but had 500,000 people that were signed up to that subscription model, which is actually a very fair, moderate number, I think, would sign up for that, don't they stand to make more money? So you have to, in my opinion, the pros and cons have to be weighed. The money has to be weighed. And those are all information and data I don't have access to be completely honest. So this is all just me speculating. But if it's coming, what is it going to look like? And this is the way I see it. So what I want to know is, what do you guys see as part of the new Sony interactive digital experience? Because we don't really have a name for anything. I want to jump into a conversation with you guys on it. So if you want, I stream on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Jump into the chat. What do you guys think the new Sony digital Game Pass equivalent, if that's what we're calling it, is going to look like? Or do you have thoughts on other videos that are up? Whatever you guys want, jump into the chat and shoot the shit with me, hang out. We'll discuss anything, video games, anything else related. That's going to do it, really, for this edition From a Mind of a Madman. Thank you guys for watching. And if words offend you, you can politely fuck off.